All right, everybody, welcome in another edition of TigerBait Live tonight. Buddy Songy in the house. Big thanks to him being my compadre on all our post-practice reports. You guys have obviously been enjoying those. We really thank y'all for tuning in, hitting the like button, sharing them. And we've been burning the, not the midnight oil, but we've been out there every day. And you can see both of us have got a little bit of sun. And but big scrimmage today. We're going to talk about that on tonight's show. Obviously, we're brought to you by Pride Roofing each and every week, the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. And we'll talk about them a little bit more in the show. But as always, they're offering that promo. They're going to continue to offer it as long as the phones keep ringing. Call 855-PRIDE-16. Tell them you heard about them on TigerBait. And with your free roof inspection, they're going to pay for you to have TigerBait Premium for 1 year. So big day today, scrimmage. We had Brian Kelly afterwards. And I think we saw a lot of good things today, and I think probably the most important thing that we've seen at practice, Buddy, is, knock on wood, no catastrophic injuries so far. And those guys who are out, we think will be back shortly.
Good to see you, Michael Scarborough. Not only you forgot we did the radio show as well.
That's right.
Afterwards, so it has been a very busy day and a hell of a good mood today. Because just as we are sponsored by Pride Roofing, and truly, if you do business with these people, you're going to have great pride in the way your roof looks, the way you handle the business, the way they handle it, sharpen the pencil, whatever, metal roofs, whatever. So we take great pride in having a great sponsor like that. You're going to take great pride in LSU. Moving on up like the Jeffersons. Now, here it is. Everybody's going to the beach this summer. Got to get it in, Mike, before football. And here comes Mississippi State, ringing a cowbell in your 7-year-old kid's ear and kicking sand up on your wife and saying, I can't wait to get a hold of you week 3. And then you got the hookers from Tennessee. Hendon Hooker coming in as a quarterback. He wants to prove how good he is. Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, Alabama, all of that. Everybody wants a piece of LSU this year. And last week I was a little worried. Today, no purple and gold sunglasses, no sunglasses.
You about to drop a 10-2 on us?
No, I'm not dropping a record. I think it's still early. But I'm seeing the plan, the pieces to the puzzle, and the ascension back up, moving back up, where those fans, those listeners, those viewers are going to be damn proud on Saturday when they beat their chest because they played very disciplined football, smart football, and bringing back that pride of defense. We got a lot of tidbits to give you today, but Jaden Daniels looked appreciably better. I thought the light went on with him, and let me tell you something. They were very impressive with the offense, and, of course, I had to ask Coach Kelly about it at the end. He admitted the offense had today, the defense had it yesterday. But, Mike, I'm starting to see progress, and I think you give them another 2 weeks, and this is going to be a pretty spicy football team that plays smart and with a chip on their shoulder.
Guys, if you enjoy the show, please do us a favor. It doesn't cost you anything. Hit the like button. It's very much appreciated when you do that. It helps us with the YouTube algorithm. Share it to your social media, your Facebook, your Twitter, and so on. Very much appreciative every time y'all do that for us. Out there today, Jaden Daniels, and I've said it before, as good as Zach Mettenberger was, a guy like Jaden Daniels would have been very tempting for a coach like Les Miles. Every coach wants a guy who can run like that. And I'm telling you, when he takes off and runs, and there's design runs, he is devastating. It's crushing for a defense when you're in a third and whatever situation, and a guy like that can make something happen when there's nothing there. And that's why was brought in by Brian Kelly. And now, as I say that, Garrett Nussmeier had a very good day today as well. And I think they both threw some very good balls. Nussmeier can run as well. But I think there's no doubt in my mind. I know some people were debating it. I was kind of, out there being a little leery of the 200-pound weight on him. But it's legit. I mean, he's really been consuming the calories since he got here. You can see it in his legs. And
it hadn't slowed him down a second. I mean, he is a blur out there when he takes off.
And I said a week or two ago that I thought Walker Howard was the fastest. I would be real curious to see if those two ran a 40 side by side, who would win. I think it would be close.
Yeah.
Because Walker can sprint out. But, I mean, I know Walker's a legit 4'6" guy, which is moving. I mean, Burrow's, 4'9"? And we saw how Joe Burrow could kill you with his legs. So, and I think Nuss is probably maybe 4'7". So they've got some guys that can get done what they want to get done. And again, like I've been saying, Jaden Daniels is effective. You might not think his passes are pretty. You might not think they have a perfect spiral. But they landed today. I mean, he was hitting the guys. And Brian Thomas dropped a few balls. Jeray Jenkins was fantastic. Keishon Butte had a very nice catch. And so that group, and expecting to get Jack Besh back. So I think the only thing negative that I saw on offense today was Dellinger with the low snaps, and Kelly's didn't seem to be worried about it, not yet anyways. He says he can get that fixed. But I think the other notable was the running backs and Armani Goodwin and Noah Kane. And I don't know if Emery is going to end up being number one, but and what he does every day at practice when we're not there. But when we are there, it looks to me like Goodwin and Kane are running harder than him.
Going to be running back by committee. And you covered a lot there. Let me just say this about Jaden Daniels. And we reiterate to our viewers out there, seriously, Mike and I have no dog in this fight. And LSU fans want to get after each other, so you're griping about who's going to be the quarterback. A lot of people took it personal. I had 5 or 6 phone calls, Mike, when Miles Brennan walked away, all talking about how it's a sad story. But Miles, that's the cross that he's had to bear all those years, and he's accepted it. You even said he still could be involved with the program in some way. So now we move on to Jaden and Garrett. I really believe what's happened is that once Garrett tweaked his ankle, Jaden Daniels got a chance to get more reps with the ones, and he's getting better every practice. And today I saw him more decisive. The intermediate ball is the question on him and going through his progression of reads. Now, they're going to throw in the flat to the tight ends and the backs out the backfield. You're going to see some dink and dunk. But you got to throw Butte and Malik Neighbors and all those guys the intermediate ball. He's got an excellent deep ball. And you said on the runs, he is a blur. So right now, to me, what I saw, and the last time we had seen extensive scrimmage was Thursday, so we're now 6 days after that. I thought Nuss threw the ball well and did some good things, but I think that Daniels, because of Nuss's injury, had a chance to ascend to one. Brian Kelly's going to tell all of you that, but I still think what a lot of people have been assuming and reporting, that Jaden Daniels is going to take the first snaps. And I'm going to predict it on this Wednesday night. Can I? He will score a rushing touchdown on the night of September 4th in the Superdome. Book it right now.
Trucking with Casper with a big $20 super chat. Big thanks, Trucking with Casper. He says, appreciate Buddy and Mike, my favorite LSU Tiger talk show. How has Will Campbell looked so far since coming on, and how good do you think he gets? He's been absolutely amazing. Now, I've seen him do very well against Mason. I've seen him do very well against Allie Gay. I want to go back and watch my footage again today. But, how much of that is they're really going 100% at each other right now? I think the sky's the limit. There's the ceiling on Will Campbell he's an all-pro NFL offensive tackle one day.
Yeah, and look, we got chided a couple times because when we're out there that close to the action, they do not want the media to be anywhere behind the players. So we got to be cognizant because, when you throw a ball out in the flat, you run out of bounds and there's contact. And look, I saw him. He doesn't have much bad fat on him. He's a good solid 320, 325. Anthony Bradford, God bless his soul, he's got to lose a few more pounds. They're going to look at him inside and look at Cam Wire outside, do that more. But, man, Will Campbell, everyone you talk about, talks about the brute strength, but also talks about the smarts. This guy's a leader. And I don't know if I've ever seen a true freshman offensive lineman that can fit at left tackle. Of course, the old days, they didn't come in early and rolly, but really, ever since they fit him in at left tackle, that offensive line has started to get together. If you can get Dellinger with confidence consistently on the shotgun snaps, you got an offensive line that I think's got some potential.
Yeah, because Dellinger, like Kelly said today, he's got football smarts. He's very good in the classroom smarts. He's got that size. That's what I like about Kelly, too. He's kind of like Saban in that regard, where he starts explaining things and talking about how you can't get away with centers anymore that are narrow.
Yeah.
And wanting the big body guard type at center. And so I think that's why some people were alluding to during recruiting that if you had to, maybe Emory Jones could move there because he's similar built. And I think Emory could play 3 different positions, guard, center, right tackle. But, let's see if he's still singing the same tune if there's still low snaps a week from now.
Well, let's get to as many as we can tonight, interact. And once again, folks, LSU, in my opinion, is turning the corner. You got another week of the grind. There will be allowed 30 minutes on Saturday. Then they kick us out, and they have about an hour and a half scrimmage. Coach Kelly will meet with us later on Saturday. And then another one Tuesday afternoon. And after that, I think the depth chart is pretty much not necessarily released to the public, but I think you'll see it in the reps. And I think there's some battles going on. But look, you mentioned John Emery, and people have been talking about John Emery. I hate to tell you, folks, I'd love for number 4 to have a great year. You shot some video on Monday, and just a handoff. John Emery fumbles the ball. You can't do that. Ball security is the most important thing for a quarterback and a running back. And Emery, to me, looks like he's behind 22 or Monty Goodwin, who's 2, and Noah Kane, who I think will start on the
I don't know if, I think I see that too, but I don't know if we're seeing the whole picture. I'll just say that.
But look, my eyes, right now, 21 and 22 are playing with more confidence. John Emery's still he can be a great pass receiver, can't fumble the ball, and I just don't see that explosion. Something's holding him back. Once he goes full, man, you see how 22 and 21 are running. They're a lot better than we gave them credit for.
I really like Carmoni Goodwin.
Yeah, I do too.
I think that's where Corey Kiner saw that.
He is a poor man's Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, as a junior, had one heck of a year.
Trey Potam, thank you for the super chat. No comment, but thank you all the same. If you got something you want to ask, hit me up with it. Let me scroll back up. Let's fly through these guys. Aaron Lang, I enjoy the show, guys. What's happening with John Emery? Okay, we talked about some of that in Noah Kane. That was an early one. Oh, Danny Girl, watching the countdown is what I felt like waiting for the scrimmage to post on TigerBait. And oh, Danny Girl, we were late today. I got a little fancy. I shot Buddy and I in 4K,
Oh, gee.
60 frames a second. That 11-minute video came out to be 7 gigs. And so when I got in the office and was uploading Kelly and our video at the same time, it bottlenecked everything. So we were running late today.
Shout out to Oh Danny Girl.
I'm gonna tune us down to like 7:20 next time, and in that way we'll look even better because we'll be hazy.
But her, Nurse Court, Kristen, Ray, Kathy, all you women out there, this is a beautiful thing, Mike. They are chomping at the bit for this frickin' season to start just as much as any of you. So, guys, quit trying to show off and be a butthole and try to demean women in the chat. Give it up. Come on.
All right, guys. Wesley Nettles, hello, Mike and Buddy. Drake Dishler gives a hello. Good evening, everyone. Trey Potan, of course, gave us a super chat. Yeah, here we go. Hey, Mike, I hope this doesn't happen, but if Daniels or Nuss were to suffer a season injury against Florida State, could BK bring Miles back? I don't know. I got some info today that I'm not sure Miles is in school or he will be in school. And so I don't, even though he has eligibility left, you have to carry hours in class. So that would be not an option unless Miles is taking some classes. I guess he's working on his master's or would have been, or would it be his doctorate? I mean, he's been in school for 6 years.
I think he is quite happy with the decision. He gave his blood, sweat, tears. He's been around for 6 years. Man, people don't realize the sacrifice that you have to give up when you're out there. And you know, you and I talked about it. Every hour until you go to school is planned. And once you get into the school year, then you gotta have your organization there. So I think we've seen the end of Miles, and of course, as you know, everybody wishes him the best. But who knows? I guess it could happen, but I don't see it myself.
Ray Pontiff says, I'm here because Blake Ruffino told me to. Thanks, Ray, and thanks, Blake,
Thank you, guys.
for mentioning us on his show and telling y'all to come watch after his.
Hey, good to see BR out at practice.
Yeah, Blake was there today. There was a huge media contingent today. The whole sideline was packed, and I really think, I would assume Notre Dame, because of who they are, has a big media group, but I don't know if they have the same number of media that we have here. And I think and I was told that's part of the reason why Brian Kelly altered what he normally gives the media, because of the interest here, and he feels like he wants to be more accessible. And so, look, if you go watch my video package, it's almost 12 minutes, I think, or maybe a little over 12 minutes today. Believe me, we're seeing a scrimmage, but there's things that they're doing that he knows that they're going to be doing in the season that he's not doing, that he didn't do today because we're not to see it. And so, what do we get, 30 minutes on Saturday?
30 minutes on Saturday. Then they have a very important scrimmage. He'll talk to us.
But usually, it's not just cameras down and we get to stay.
We're going after 30 minutes.
We're booted out after 30 minutes.
But we will meet with the media. It'll be the old time. We'll be asking him questions about a scrimmage that we didn't see. But this is the important one, folks. I really think they start to lock in. They're too deep. But
that scrimmage is where the real stuff, the nitty gritty stuff.
That's right.
I mean, today is significant, but not like Saturday.
No.
Honkus says Blake sent me too. Doug knows Blake Ruffino paid me to be here.
Oh,
man,
wow.
man, he's doling out money now. All right, guys, let's see. And he says Blake wants Buddy's purple Titleist hat. All right.
Oh, okay. Well, he's got so much money.
Yeah, you've got a few comments about that hat recently.
Yeah, that's a good looking hat. By the way, big name of the day that nobody expected to be in the limelight. Go to your LSUsports.net or wherever you get your updated roster and punch in 34 Damian Ramos, who is a right-footed kicker, and he was getting reps with the ones. He's got a good leg. We don't know if it's John Corbello or Cade York distance, but he was with the ones. Jay Bramblett, folks, is the most important guy on the team in special teams. He's the punter and he's the holder. And the reason that's important is got Nathan Dybert and Ezekiel Mata are left-footed kickers, and Trey Finnison and Ramos are right-footed kickers. Well, you know what, folks? You get in different positions. It's a little different when you're cooking from the left side and the right side. Bramblett, I was impressed with Bramblett's punting, and unfortunate, just like we said, John Emery didn't have a good scrimmage. If you love Peyton Tide, send him a cheer-me-up note because he had a rough day with a couple of those punts. But, look, he's got the leg. He's just got the – but I was very impressed with 19 punting the football.
Trucking with Casper, man, with another super chat. Who is the best recruit still out there in the nation that we have a chance to grab? Thank you, Trucking with Casper. Big thanks. Look, obviously, the Zalance Hurd's going to go down on September 1, so that's a big kid nationally, but he's also happens to be in Louisiana. He's a fantastic offensive lineman, a must-get, and my prediction on him is LSU. Going out of state, I really like LSU's chances for the cornerback, Javian Toviano from Martin High School in Arlington, Texas. He's an absolute stud. I think those are just some to watch out for, and I still think Derek Williams right here in the state of Louisiana is the one to continue to watch, even though he's committed to Texas. I don't think that one's going to end is over with by any stretch. So there's that.
Well, also BR to BR, Bravey and Rogers there's some good feelings there. The big tight end who can run 10-2-2.
I think,
Scarborough.
but Rogers went back to A&M this past weekend, and they're feeling very confident.
Oh, okay. BR to BR?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, bottom line is that LSU, what do you think? If we had to pick right now, would you go 6, 7 as far as ending up in this class ranking?
I'm going to tell you right now, if you're anywhere from 5 to 8 or 9, I think that's – but I think the portal's still going to be big.
Yeah.
I think you take that all day long.
And you don't know how many you're going to end up signing. So
yeah,
that's a question we'll try to get in for Coach Kelly on Saturday. What difference do you think in the rebuild of LSU football is this rule change going to help you? And as we know with Miles Brennan's departure, according to Brian Lazar, Mr. Stats on TigerBait.com, 74 scholarship players right now. So we'll see. He may bring in 32 to 35 again.
I'm thinking could get 35.
Yeah,
because there's still some guys on that roster that are going to hit the portal themselves. So LSU's going to have some attrition. So,
and I don't blame Rogers going back over to Texas A&M. Hell, every time you go over there, you get you a nice low bag.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's hear from our title sponsor, Pride Roofing.
Hi, I'm Michael.
I'm Alex.
At Pride Roofing, we handle commercial and residential work.
TPO, shingle, and metal inventory. We got it.
Property still in disarray from the recent hurricanes and hailstorms. Insurance claims?
No problem. But you know Pride Roofing is the official roofer at TigerBait.com.
In fact, notify TigerBait and we'll give you a free roof inspection. And on top of that, you get a free year subscription. Call 855-PRIDE-16. Se habla Espanol.
And there you have it. Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez, Pride Roofing. Sponsor us each and every week. Our relationship with them is off the charts. And like I've said many times, I've known Mike Faraday my entire life. His younger brother, Tom, good people. And his partner in business, Alex Martinez, is just like him. And based right here in Louisiana, in Albany, right there on Florida Boulevard in Albany. Swing by their office, say hello. Call them at 855-PRIDE-16. Whether you need to have a commercial roofing need, residential, whether it's regular shingles, metal roof, tar, whatever. I mean, there's no style of roof that they're not experts at handling. So if you're anywhere from Vinton, Louisiana, all the way to Biloxi, Mississippi, all the way north up to Jackson, they're absolutely who you want to talk to. And as always, you call 855-PRIDE-16. Tell them you heard about them on TigerBait, and they're going to pay for you to have TigerBait Premium free for a year. It's not just a deal. They're actually paying. They're paying for it.
And, of course, we are expanding more and more in Baton Rouge, 225-275-2041, as you see. Folks, we had the acquisition of Crown Metals. That has totally changed the roofing game. They are good people, I promise you. What do we say about the two most important things in any relationship, especially business? Trust and communication. You can trust them. They'll give you pride in the job that they do. They get there early. They clean it up, sharpen the pencil, and you're going to really like enjoying
And if they mess up,
relationship.
they're going to fix it.
Mike and Alex, man.
Believe me.
Solid people. Give them an opportunity. You will not be disappointed, Pride Roofing.
Absolutely. And like I always tell you, too, again, they keep a yard full of shingles, and it's not builder grade. You're not waiting 3 or 4 months because you picked out something or there's a back order or supply chain, whatever. They're constantly driving all the states over to pick up shingles, and plus their own manufacturing of the components they need to do roofs right there in-house. So give Pride Roofing a call.
As you can see, all of my roster sheets continue to take a pounding. It is interesting, folks, with our access, and I think all of us in the media want to thank Brian Kelly for giving us an opportunity to do our jobs a little bit differently. Now, look, this is not a kiss butt. Paul Feinbaum with one knee pad that says Nick and the other knee pad that says Saban. We're not doing that with a Brian Kelly right knee pad and a whatever left knee pad. We're just saying that. And I've talked to a bunch of media, Steve Schneider, Moscona, Charlie, everybody, that we remember the days of Jerry DiNardo. And, it got wild and too much information got out there. And, of course, our access slowly got changed. But it helps us do our job. And I think what people are really liking is the quality of video that you've been providing, because they can see it for themselves. You talked about Jaden Daniels quicker than I did. I talked about Nussmeier and this and that. So everybody sees differently, but I think that people are just appreciative that the new coach coming in is a happier version of Nick Saban, and he's not paranoid. And as you said earlier, great explanation on the questions. I mean, I asked today about the identity of that defense, and man, that I don't know about you, but that answer fired me up. If you did not hear what Brian Kelly said, what he wants to do on defense, that's going to fire you up, because we know Tiger fans love to get blitzed, and then they love to see them send the kitchen sink and blitz. Oh, by the way, Greg Brooks, we hadn't talked enough about him. Watch number 3, rushing from the slot and having some sacks this year. Brooksy will have 5 or more sacks this year.
Oh, Danny Girl with a super chat. I have been concerned about center all off season, but I'll have to take a shot to you this season every time we get a shaky snap, because you want us to be prepared for it. Hoping practice corrects. Oh, Danny Girl with a $9.99 super chat. Big thanks to you, oh, Danny Girl, very much so.
Well, let's go ahead and have some fun tonight.
Real quick, Travis Wilburn. Rogers went back to A&M. He didn't recommit to A&M. He was on campus last weekend.
Come on, let's have some fun. Over and under of bad snaps this year for LSU.
Oh, I don't know. What is typical?
Well, you don't like to have many at all, but I'm not talking about special teams.
I mean, what's typical?
We're just
One a game?
getting people understanding this. This guy was told, hey, he was hurt in the spring. Most of you know that. Marlon Martinez was running with a lot of ones. Charles Turner, now we understand why Charles Turner's not starting anymore. They probably think he's too small at 293 or 294. You got 330-pound guys that line up right over the center. And so, but Dellinger's at 313, 315 range, very high IQ. And I think he will get this and be much more consistent. But I would say 3 or 4 times this year, you're going to look at the TV, oh, Danny Girl, and say, oh, that was a bad snap. Now, there can be really bad over the head and you scramble, or it can be just something that you just scoop up. But you got to give the man a little room to improve, because this is the first year he's ever played center.
Hello from Nashville, Greg Myers. Y'all are doing great. Thank you, Greg. Spread the word. Y'all please hit the like button. Very much appreciate. If you're enjoying the show, please do that for us. Esteban, Buddy, I'm aware, but still a long way until signing day. Could still work on him. I'm just curious if LSU is even actively recruiting him. Who are you talking about, Esteban? Do I need to scroll up and I missed who y'all were talking about? Oh, Manny. I don't think so.
Who?
He's talking about Tackett Curtis.
Oh, okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Of course, Nicholas Harb, everybody wants. That's going to be real interesting to see how that people asking about him. Scrolling up, guys. I'm gonna get to as many of you guys as you can. I'm looking for the ones that we haven't already touched on a bit. Mick McGrath, do y'all think Brian Kelly could run into an issue with LSU having lower academic requirements than Notre Dame? No, I don't think so at all. That's part of the calculus as to why he came here. But look, I will say this. They always like to say when Notre Dame over the years I know who some of the guys were they were recruiting. I know what their GPAs were. They like to act like they're only taking 3.0 or better kids, but they're not. They're taking the same academic standards that everybody else is operating under. The difference is most of the kids that they really wanted that would be the difference between them making the playoffs and getting their heads kicked in, those kids want to play in the SEC.
And the difference between this staff and the previous staff is that the previous staff would put it all up in big letters, NFLSU. And Brian Kelly's MO is graduate champions. There's no doubt it's not going to be a problem for him. It is one of the reasons that a lot of people.
But he is going to elevate those kids.
He's going to bring the GPA, and you know what?
If a kid comes in and he's barely an academic qualifier, that kid's going to get he's either going to get close to getting his degree if he doesn't go pro early, and if he's here the whole time, he's going to get his degree.
Doing it the right way, folks.
The grade point average went up 0.4 in one semester under Brian Kelly.
Sure.
But of course, what did he do? I was told some walk-ons that had sketchy grades, they were out. Is that right?
I don't know about all
like,
that.
man, if you're going to bring walk-ons in and they count against you, they better be good honor students.
Yeah.
You don't want walk-ons hurting you with their GPAs.
The main point is that you have to go to class, you have to do your work in the classroom, and you have to learn how to act the right way.
And by the way, that is part of it too.
That's part of changing the culture.
But that is a game that they do play.
Yeah.
They bring in a lot of walk-ons that are honor students.
Yeah, sure.
And the trade-off is that they get to run out under the goalpost. But they get to sweat out in 98-degree heats wearing full pads.
Speaking of that, I picked up something. I don't remember exactly where it came from, but Brian Kelly is quite excited. You know, he said football and food and all the other things and family. He needs to add one more F, fun. How exciting, passionate, and fun is it going to be to go to Tiger Stadium this year? I'm not asking you how many they win in the stadium, but I'm asking you, are these fans going to go in there and is this their pride and joy? And is that place rocking again, or you think it's still a year away?
You beat Florida State. You set the table for some raucous crowds.
Mississippi State, week 3, folks, is going to be a big litmus test.
Absolutely. Bo Swindle, any chance to flip Jordan Matthews from Tennessee? I'm going to be honest with you, Bo. I think I'm not sure how much mutual interest there was between LSU and Jordan Matthews. I don't see that happen now. Could someone steal, besides LSU stealing from Tennessee? I don't know. I thought he was going to Texas.
Yeah.
That kind of shocked me. Let's see. Scroll down.
Other tidbits as we wait for Jake Peets to pull in the next play. Look, folks, there's 2 really good trash talkers on this team. And on offense, it is Malik Neighbors, number 8. In the spring, he scored a touchdown and got into the face of the walk-on DB. And, of course, Coach Kelly chided him. But, look, he is one fiery, spicy, passionate TNT. I call him Lil TNT, and he is a trash talker. On defense, Mekhi Garner, number 2. So here it is. Garner makes a big play on Jure Jenkins, and, man, he's going down the field. You can't touch this. I can play. I can do anything, and just running down the field. So about 15 minutes later in the red zone, Jure Jenkins beats him on a slant for a touchdown. He had talked so much trash to Jenkins, he slammed the ball. Did you see that? He slammed the ball after he scored. Jure Jenkins had a good day.
Absolutely.
But here's what the coach said. I need it every day. Wants him to be more of a leader and more consistent. And guess what? Guess who else used the media to talk to a player? Nick Saban.
The thing I like about Brian Kelly, though, is that if you ask him a question, I don't think he cares that he thinks, if I say that I might upset that player. Now, he's not going to go over the top and dismantle a kid in public, but he's very, what's the word? He's very upfront about what he thinks. He's not going to sugarcoat anything. And so you can tell by the words and his body language and his tone and the way he kind of does this where you're getting where, okay, there's a problem there. But I did like the way he did that with Jure, and probably Jure watched it and laughed. But he's got a point. Kayshawn's quiet. Brian Thomas is quiet. Jack Besh is vocal, but he's, coming in year 2.
Malik Neighbors is not.
But
He's a chirper.
But it would be great if Jeray Jenkins, being the senior, could be that guy, and he did have a fantastic day. Someone asked about Landon Ibieta getting involved. Is he getting involved?
No, he's been injured a little bit. Had much PT right now. LSU is loaded at wide receiver, and we're talking 6 to 7. I think Landon Ibieta. They wanted him to play special teams, but he's been tweaked a little bit. By the way, what you were looking for, and Brian Kelly has said this: we are going to be demanding, but we'll never be demeaning, and we will never cuss at a player. Like, hey, Mofo, what are you doing? Now, I heard him scream at Gallagher on one of those bad center snaps, but demanding but not demeaning is the way he says it.
Rick, who every week I say his name different, he's told me 4 times with a super chat, what's your take on LSU commits losing 5 stars by other rating services?
Predictable.
I will say this. I do think Shelton is a 4-star. I think he's a high 4, which means national 100, maybe top 50, 60. I really would like to see him have a breakout senior year. He's got a quarterback in Lance Beal. I just really want to see him have several games this year where he's unstoppable and he's a man amongst boys. I think that would put him back in the 5-star. But where he's rated now, I mean, when you're a high 4-star, there aren't many of those. But
for those that watch the Stars and the Stargazers, it's pretty damn disappointing for this to happen like clockwork. Once they commit to LSU, everybody says it on the internet, he'll be a 4 in a week. And your old buddy, ST, who's had all these different services, it seems like there's pretty much of a pattern. They bump up the Bama commit and they downgrade and drop the LSU commit. Only LSU fans would care that much about stargazing and star ratings. It's irrelevant what they are rated coming in. We've had this discussion, and remember our buddy Brian, who we don't hear from anymore, Ryan Madare. Brian, I hope you're all right. I hadn't heard from you. We hadn't heard from me. But he was talking about all these 3-stars, and we went through that 25 list of 3-stars. It's irrelevant, but it does pretty much tick off the LSU fan base when that happens like clockwork.
Yeah. Let's scroll down. Trey Potan and Mike and Buddy, very optimistic about this team, bleed purple and gold. I am, but, is 8-4 okay? Is that being optimistic? I just think at the end of the year, we're going to see that maybe the difference between a team that could be 9-3 or 7-5 is a close couple of field goal games, and there's going to be multiple teams in the West that could fall under that. And you mentioned it earlier today about LSU's October. And so, got to get past Florida State. You talk about Mississippi State, but if you can get through September unscathed, and then what do you need to do in October? Split?
Well, you go into that weird jungle, and who knows what if Harson's still going to have his cheerleader friend, or if he's still going to have his Auburn job. There's been a lot of passion and a lot of look. Some people want him to survive. Some people want him to have a bad season, and they were ready for him to go. But it's always a crazy game. But LSU's 4-0 and Auburn's 4-0. That's a big game. They also play Penn State in Week 3 and Maryland in Week 4, so they could have a loss or two. But I'd be disappointed if that wasn't a crazy one like it always is.
Yeah, they're people at Auburn. I don't know what to make of them. But LSU goes to Florida, goes to Auburn, goes to College Station,
and Arkansas.
And Tennessee here, and I say it all the time. It's what Sam Pittman does with the talent he's got. They're just a dangerous football team. They're waiting in the weeds for you to not show up. Have BK and Polian settled on the return guys yet? Are we going to continue fair catching the kickoffs inside the 25?
Good question on that last one, but I don't know if you picked this up, but I certainly did. Brian Polian, obviously, is a recruiting coordinator and special teams coordinator, and he's been working extensively. Brian Kelly said, I started to spend more time with them, and I think that's why Ramos and all that, Kelly's getting involved, Polian's getting involved, but it is a complete makeover. But I think that they want to do some things that LSU hasn't done. I think they want to be better in the punt return. Malik Neighbors is a starting punt returner, but Javen Nicholas, number 33, reminds me of a skinny Odell Beckham when Odell Beckham came to LSU and wore 33, about 180 pounds. He's in there. Sage Ryan is in there. But that fair catch on the kickoff, we've not asked him about that yet. That's a good question.
Well, all these kickoffs going out the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's become more irrelevant.
But I will say this. Polian was batting 100. I had him rated as 100. Or I'll say I had him rated as a 5-star on his music. Whenever special teams goes in action, all of a sudden the speakers crank up. Polian likes loud music when his special teams are getting their shots on the practice field. So in previous weeks, he's had AC/DC, Van Halen, the good stuff. Rush. Today he had Oasis. I'm dropping him down to a 4-star.
Okay. Hey, by the way, this is a question that I have, and so many great Tiger fans. So do me a favor, folks, if you have the opportunity. When is the last time LSU's blocked a punt in a game? And when is the last time LSU's blocked a kick in a game? And this great audience and so smart, I don't remember. I saw some highlights of Patrick Peterson with a block, and of course we know with the honey badger and all that, but wouldn't that be nice to see if they got after it? Because, LSU hasn't even tried to block a punt or a kick in a long time, and as we said.
No, he likes to get after him.
Yeah, he likes to get after him.
But he looks for they look for their spots.
Think they're going to be more aggressive, folks, but if you know the last time they blocked a punt or a kick in a game, pop it in the chat with Mike.
Bayou Boogeyman was something that I've been talking about for quite a while. Mike and Buddy watching clips of Mason Taylor made me say, wow, he moves better than he should at that size. Could be a huge weapon. I mean, you
were the first one to say it. This summer when you saw it.
Well, because here's the deal. Being where he's from, obviously I didn't see him play in high school. I never saw him. I didn't see him on his visit standing in front of me. So I didn't get the eyeball test. See him in June at football camp because all the players get to work camps and they're allowed to make money from it. And when I saw him out there in shorts, I'm like, God, man, this kid.
You told me.
Man, he is just.
And so he's a beast.
So now you look at him and you're like, okay, what is he going to look like in a couple of years? I mean, the sky's the limit for him. You want to talk about Will Campbell? I think Mason Taylor can be an absolute beast. He's going to play. I think he could be a weapon this year for LSU.
Hey, come on. That's my second wacky Wednesday prediction. Jaden Daniels runs for a touchdown against Florida State. Mason Taylor catches a touchdown in the end zone. And, oh, by the way, a shout-out to Joe Burrow and Thaddeus Moss, that touchdown right before halftime in the national championship game. And, of course, Skalski spears Burrow, and he's so hurt he can hardly talk to anybody. But, man, that quarterback draw and that toss to the tight end, love to see a little bit of Jaden Daniels with the run. And then Mason Taylor is going to be your tight end at some point. They'll play Stores, they'll play Cole Taylor, and they'll play Monster Mash, Jack Mashburn. But Mason Taylor is a recruit that LSU got that nobody really said a lot about.
If you get your running game going and you've got what we know this wide receiver core is and what they can be as a group, and then all of a sudden you hit them with a tight end like Mason Taylor.
And they like the tight ends.
A defense thinks they're doing what they need to do, and they got you, and all of a sudden you hit a tight end like Mason Taylor, matched up on a linebacker or a safety. It's no contest. So yeah, I'm looking for that. Bo Swindle, is Derek Williams still in play for Texas? Yeah, absolutely. I talked about that earlier. That one isn't over yet. I don't believe that for a while. So. Ahmad Rashad, I'm going to put you up on the screen, and I'm going to set you straight for the last time. Are you guys ready to admit you were wrong about Jaden Daniels? Let me tell you something, bud. I've been talking about Jaden Daniels. How long have I been saying that Jaden Daniels was the guy? Seriously.
Well, look, the light
came I was on. Never a Miles Brennan guy, which was making everybody mad. Okay? I've been saying it was Jaden Daniels most likely since the end of spring.
I'm slow. Okay, call me a slow old foggy guy. Look, I saw it today. I saw the confidence, decisiveness, and whatever, and I explained what I said.
I don't know what
earlier.
shows Ahmad Rashad's watching, but he hadn't been watching this one.
I know. And Mike, and I mentioned this last week, Mike pretty much told me after the spring, look, I just going to tell you, we all get information, and Jaden Daniels didn't come over here. Oh, by the way, let's make some sense of it. Jaden Daniels has started 29 games, and Garrett Nussmeier has never started a game. So, do you go in your first game at LSU with experience? This is Brian Kelly's call. I'm not one of these guys jumping the gun and said it's already been named. But I do think once Nuss got hurt, Daniels started to move on up, took advantage of the more reps. But Mike has been on him, and look, people think
Ahmad Rashad just needs to get away from the computer.
I know.
He's got Miss Cosby downstairs.
Look, bottom line is this. If Jaden Daniels plays the way he did at practice today, then there's going to be a lot of dancing in the streets on Saturday night.
American Patriot with the super chat. Big thanks, American Patriot. I hear the receivers are off the charts. Did Besh move down a few spots with his injury?
I don't think so, man.
Yeah.
Jack Bash is what LSU football is all about. Here we go. Keyshawn Butte, Malik Neighbors, Jeray Jenkins, Jack Bash in the front four. You agree with that? Brian Thomas Jr., you got to step up. Kyron Lacey, number 2 from ULL. You got to catch the football consistently. And, oh, by the way, Chris Hilton. As we know, when you are a lot of soft tissue with the hammies, if you can keep him healthy, he gives you the deep threat. And Landon Ibieta is not even out there, but don't sleep on 33 now. We're talking about our 7th or 8th wide receiver. Javen Nicholas is going to play on special teams, folks. Remember I told you that.
Trey Potan, classifying players at certain stars are really opinionated, and there are way more intelligence of football. At the end of the day, are you a football player? Exactly, Trey. And I will say this, the underwear camps and 7-on-7 and all that's one thing. And I've been on my soapbox for a while about it. A lot of you are subscribers to multiple sites. Do your due diligence. Start asking questions. Well, have you seen that kid's play a football game? When was the last time you came to Louisiana and saw that kid at that high school play? And see what your response is. I know of one analyst regionally that sees a lot of football players. And I'll give him credit, Sam Spiegelman, because he's based in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
But all the other guys that are out there, another network, I don't think that guy's been here in 2 or 3 years. You can't cover recruiting and actually see kids play in person when your entire recruiting staff, and I'm not talking about team sites. I'm a team site guy. Okay? Jeff Ketchum in Orange Bloods, Texas, is a team site guy. I'm talking about guys who actually work for the network, not affiliated with a team site, and their job is a certain region or they're the national analyst. And you can't do the whole country with 4 or 5 guys. You just can't. California alone needs 2 people. Texas alone probably needs 2 people. Florida has only been covered once in my whole career very well. Florida's never been covered well. There's so many players in Florida that they get wrong, and it's always been that way. I think Georgia might be the only state that probably gets done right. Louisiana gets done pretty decent. I'll have issue, but really, in the grand scheme, it's not really that far out of whack. Now, I have fun with Aaron Anderson because that was just craziness. But, I'm not going to go crazy if I got a guy number 3 in the state and a competitor's got him number 8. Well, maybe 8. If I'm 3, maybe he ought to be at least 6 or 7 on somebody else's. But you get what I'm saying. C-Man CUC, Scarborough likes to rock, also probably owns the Cars' first album. Actually, I had that on cassette.
Oh.
True. I'm not lying.
By the way, karma is a beach. LSU had a little scat back by the name of JoJo Earl that was committed to him to LSU, and he flipped to Alabama, and I think as soon as he did, he got an uptick like they always do. But he's been injured for 2 years, and guess what LSU got instead? Malik Neighbors. You remember, folks, that Jamal Adams was one of the 5 that LSU got with Fournette and the safety from up in Monroe area that ended up going to Alabama with Cam. Hootie. Who got the better end of that deal? Hootie and the Blowfish or Jamal Adams? I mean,
Jamal Adams.
Karma is a beach.
I remember talking on the phone to, God dang it, who's Austin Thomas. I was up at the 5-star deal in Chicago that year. And he said, man, who did you like the most? I said, man, this kid Jamal Adams. And at that time, those are usually held in June. LSU really wasn't even in the picture. And Corey Raymond turned that around and got him. But I'm telling you, it was so obvious to me what a difference maker he was. And of course, a 5-star challenge is all your difference makers. But he stood out amongst the difference makers. It was just so obvious to me.
Real quick update. Coach Kelly said today there is a fierce battle for the top 3 corners. Most people think it is obviously Mekhi Garner, Jarrett Bernard Converse, Kobe Dickerson. And as we know, Mike, I'm sorry I did it. I did the same thing Kelly's did. Kobe Richardson, number 22, the grad transfer. Sevyn Banks is still coming back from a little bit of healing from Ohio State. And then Jalen Davis Robinson, and good to see Demarius McGee, 26, back. They've got 6 corners that they feel good about. He talked about how much depth they have there. And it's safety. Greg Brooks is going to be a poor man's honey badger. He's going to blitz. He's going to cover in space, going to do great things. But right now, Jay Ward and Major Burns, your starting safeties. Joe Fouché still getting reps with the number 2. Derek Davis is also getting reps with the 2 safeties. But Fouché, and this is kind of interesting, he talks about Major Burns being such a high Q. You got to have guys out there that are smart, and let's just hope and knock on wood Major Burns can stay healthy, because he looks to be rounded into a really good football player.
Nurse Court asked Mike and Buddy, so Bramlett played quarterback. Maybe we throw him in the mix? No. But, and I need to go back and check. Maybe somebody, one of our peers, type it in the chat. Has somebody done that research? Did he have any fake punts at Notre Dame where he threw?
Oh, you can ask Brian Napoleon that question
next week.
up.
But somebody's probably already done that, and I missed it. Remark in the chat if somebody's already researched that.
Hey, we had a guy getting on you and me about late to the party with Jaden Daniels. Who was the first guy to mention that Jaden Daniels had 7,000-plus yards, 45 touchdowns, 32 passing touchdowns, 13 INTs, 13 rushing touchdowns? You know where we got all the stats first? Right here, okay? And Nurse Court got the trivia question. I know she had to look it up, but she got the trivia question. He accounted for 45 touchdowns in 3 years. He also got sacked 64 times. So Mike and I have been trying to give a fair assessment. Today, I thought that this.
Now, I will say, first day of spring, he looked awful.
Well, he'd only been here 3 days. He didn't even know anybody.
Yeah.
So it's a good problem to have, and both of them are going to play this year, Nussmeier and Daniels.
Real quick, I'm going to answer this one. Kevin Rootson, is Walker Howard the best thrower of the football? He absolutely is. I'll say it.
And unbelievable when you see that guy. And look, I'm looking for so many things, and I really see more Walker Howard when I look at your film. And even Brian Kelly shook his head and said he is fantastic as his
ball placement. Go subscribe to TigerBait. Just try us out for $1. See my video today. Those balls were they swing the running back out, and you've got to hit them on a line, and it's the ball's supposed to be behind the running back, but the running back's supposed to be twisted.
Yeah, because he turns around and catches it. Yeah,
his placement of that is like it's exact every time. And that's not an easy pass to throw.
Well, he said Kane's got to get better turning upfield.
Yeah.
And so
even though that's only, 10, 15 yards that way, that's not an easy and if you get it wrong, it's going back the other way.
Kobe Richardson, once again, by the way.
A lot of running backs have problems with that pass.
One of the little tidbits, because the secondary is still going to be a question mark nationally as well as locally. But this kid has had a great camp, and there were questions about who's going to start. They like 2, they like 24, they like 22, they like 1. But did you see Armani Goodwin run over 22 and score that touchdown? And you saw Kelly's face lit up. He said he's like a frisky little bowling ball that you try to tackle.
I love him.
I think this is a guy. I'm not saying he's going to have Clyde Edwards-Helaire numbers. I'm going to say he's going to remind the LSU fan base of Clyde Edwards-Helaire this year.
He's got very good balance. All right, it's that time. I want to talk about Tony Freeman, my dear friend. If you're thinking of buying a new home or refinancing your current mortgage but haven't found a lender you could trust, let me tell you about Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial right here in Baton Rouge. Like I said, dear friend of mine, someone who many of my friends have used for their mortgage needs repeatedly. Her knowledge and over 25 years of experience in the mortgage industry is unsurpassed. She offers a wide range of knowledge of home loan products, whether you're a first-time home buyer ready to buy a new home or you just want to explore your refinance options. Tony can guide you through your next mortgage experience. You can feel confident you're making the best financial decision with Tony as your guide. Not only is Tony a huge LSU fan, but Assurance Financial is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Call Tony today, 225-239-7150. Again, 225-239-7150. And whatever you do, please tell her you heard about her right here on TigerBait.com. NMLS number 104765, Equal Housing Opportunity 70876. And Tony's the best in the business. As you can see, she's got a new graphic and a new photo, looking bright and as happy as ever. Give her a call. You need her expertise. She's absolutely fantastic.
Well, wouldn't she be happy? She got married a month or so ago. We wish her the best in that. Never met a stranger. You know how you go and you meet somebody and you always say, I wonder if we're going to get along. I wonder if I'm going to gel with them business. I wonder if we can communicate the way I like to. All of that falls right into place. And I think what I've heard from people that we sent over there, feeling so comfortable and her being such a consummate professional. That's why we have these great sponsors, and that's why
she's going to get you closed on time. She's going to get you the best rate. You need someone like her negotiating with the Fed, messing with rates and the inflation on the homes. She is who you want to deal with. All right, let's scroll through and get through some of these. BK Takeover, Walker may have to grow an inch or two since the spring. May have grown.
Yeah, that's what he meant.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. He's right at 6'1".
But he'll get a little taller.
Let's see what we got. What is this? Jordan Battle went down at Bama today. Hate kids getting injured. But heard that Elias Ricks went down today as well. Yeah, I hate to hear that.
Yeah.
Although I don't think very highly of Elias Ricks. I don't want to hear that. Let's see what we got here. That was addition by subtraction.
Sure. LSU a lot better off at corner. I can't stop talking about Greg Brooks today. We've not really given him a lot of time, Mike. I'm watching him. They're moving him around. They're blitzing him. He's not a big guy. And the one thing that you got to remember about the secondary, do you play the press man-to-man? How aggressive are you going to be? And obviously, are you going to be able to defend the ball over the top? And are you going to be able to, once again, put the pressure with an aggressive defense? I'm telling you, Greg Brooks is going to be blitzing from all parts of the area. And I loved it when Coach Kelly told everybody today, we want the opponent's offense to feel uncomfortable. Man, there's going to be a release to that D-line against Florida State. Both of their centers, number 1 and 2, are hurt, not available for this game. I think that defensive line pins their ears back, and I think you Tiger fans are going to probably have an opportunity to drink more than one daiquiri or a hurricane.
American Patriot with a super chat. Buddy is a human calculator. It blows my mind when he starts rattling off numbers. He is our rain man with a smiley face. I can barely remember today's date. I say it all the time. His memory is unbelievable, but it's also him having done a sports talk radio show for 67 years. He's used to preparing for a show and having to fill 3 hours, and so he's always prepared.
Well, look, I do think that we do take great pride. That's why I got to beat myself up. I had a bad moment when I made the same Kelly mistake about butchering 22's name. But I'll tell you what, nobody's going to forget about him during the year. And I like to do the searches, and it kind of stood out. You remember that day, and I kind of said Miles has started 3 games and 13 touchdowns and 6 INTs in his career. And Jaden Daniels, everybody talks about 10 and 10 last year, 32 touchdowns and 13 INTs. That's a pretty darn good TD to INT ratio. And oh, by the way, the one thing that we know, you can't fumble it if you're a running back, and Kelly did not like those INTs throwing yesterday in that red zone. If that's Nuss, that's going to hurt him a little bit. And the other thing about Jaden Daniels, what does Brian Kelly want? Jaden Daniels, when asked what he brings to the table, intelligence. He is going to be a smart quarterback. And if he makes the right decisions on whether to run or pass, and he can get that intermediate passing game down, this is going to be a lot more fun offense to watch than we originally thought, Mike.
I think so. Now, I do think they're going to want to run the football.
Yeah, sure.
And
there can be tight ends on the field. Sometimes, too.
Let me tell you something, though. After the last 2 years, if you're a football fanatic and you want LSU football to return to where you want it to be, it's embarrassing how bad LSU ran the football the last 2 years. So if they're going to establish the running game and they're going to have success doing it, I'm all for it. I don't need to see it hully-gully football and it being 80% throws and 20% run or whatever. I'm okay with it being 60-40 run pass.
3.3 yards per carry, and that is even including TDP, who lit it up the last 5 or 6 games.
Absolutely. Let me scroll up. Mason Taylor will have a good freshman season. Absolutely. I think he could be a guy you're talking about. If he has the season, I think he could have. Maybe be an all-SEC freshman team. I think Will Campbell's going to be there. I know someone put Harold Perkins on their All-American. I don't know that Harold Perkins is going to get on the field enough to get that. He would have to be a starter in my mind.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm wrong.
He's starting to take twos with
it's
the
all gonna
linebacker, and he's going to play on special teams.
It's all going to depend on who in the SEC all-freshman team is usually a gold standard.
Sure.
How many true freshman linebackers
Good point.
are starting in the SEC?
But number 10 is coming, folks. You're going to be excited to see both number 10s, Jeray Jenkins and Harold Perkins.
Scrolling up, guys. I want to get to some of these, make sure I didn't miss anything we didn't already cover.
Matt House will meet with the media on Friday, so you'll get a chance to listen to what he has to say from a philosophical standpoint. Mike Jones Jr., Greg Penn, Micah Baskerville, Wes Weeks. You go on and on. Harold Perkins. You got plenty of depth there, Mike. And so, I think LSU's got a lot of good, solid football players. I still don't know how many difference makers they have, but that is what's so exciting about this upcoming season, to see the star that, like Malik Neighbors, is he going to be that star? Is Mekhi Garner and others going to be that star? But there's potential but you got to have some difference makers. And we know Butte is still not yet all the way back. I saw him drop a ball today on a slant, saw him also catch a few, but he's still got a couple weeks to fine-tune that game.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Please hit the like button, share. Go to TigerBait and subscribe. Really want to have you on board with us. You can try us out for $1. Pick the annual package. I think you'll absolutely enjoy TigerBait. Had a great follow-up story on Khai Prean, LSU's wide receiver commitment last night. Casey Gisclair, who's been an addition to our staff, has really been kicking out some really nice recruiting updates for us. And I think you'll really like that read where he interviewed his coach and gives some also some info there on his eligibility and what's happening with the LHSAA. That's in there. Our full video from today's practice. Brian Kelly, of course, is on the site. A lot of free stuff, but we want to have you on part of our Tiger Den Premium message board. I'm there day and night answering your questions, and we'll be back. What do we have, Friday? Or is it where we're just Matt House on Friday? We have practice Friday also?
No, just Matt House.
Just Matt House. Matt House. And
Saturday, we'll get 30 minutes, and then Kelly later after the scrimmage.
all right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next time on TigerBait Live. Good night.